Hi there, everyone. Joanne here with Coast to Coast with Joanne. Well, right now in Nicaragua, this is the hottest time of the year. The wind has stopped, the rain hasn't come yet, and all around the country, something very big is happening. This is the end of the sugarcane harvest season. Every year, millions of tons of sugarcane are burned, cut, processed, and shipped all over the world. And chances are you have already consumed it without even realizing it. Sugarcane is one of the biggest industries in Nicaragua. Each year it produces around 7 million tons of sugarcane, which turns into roughly 800,000 tons of sugar. And more than half of that sugar doesn't stay here in Nicaragua. It is exported all around the world to places like Europe and Canada and even Asia. So even though you might be watching this from a very far land, chances are you've already tasted this sugar in your coffee, in your desserts, or even your soda. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Before the harvest starts, the sugarcane fields are set on fire. That's right, on purpose. So they do this for a couple of different reasons. When they burn the fields, the outer husks on the sugarcane are burnt away because they are very rough and they're hard to handle with people's hands. Also, it takes away a lot of that husk, so it leaves the actual sugar cane in the middle. That is the good part, the part that they want to keep and ship away and process. And the other thing is if there are any critters within the sugar cane, it scares them off. So it's not a hazard for the people who actually work in the fields. Then the workers go in. They go in by hand. Most of this is still done with a hand and a machete. They go in with machete and they cut at the base. And they do this. It's very intense work. It is very hot and smoky and very physically demanding. The workers can cut like up to thousands of stalks a day per person. After that, machines come in and they collect them into bundles and they put them on trucks to send them away. Once the cane is cut, the sugar has to get to the processing mill as quickly as possible or it starts losing its sugar content. Most sugarcane workers here are not paid by the hour. They are paid on the quantity of work they provide. So, for example, people can work all day and depending on how much they produce, they could make between $4 and $10 a day for an entire day's work of hard labor. It is seasonal work, it's physically demanding, and it also plays a humongous role in the local economy. Now here's something that people don't realize, that only about 10 to 12% of that sugarcane that is harvested becomes physical granulated sugar that you find in your kitchen. The rest becomes things like molasses, an item that we'll call bagasse. We'll go into that a little bit further. Ethanol, animal feed, and fertilizer, and even cement. If you travel north here, you will come to a little town called Chichigalpa. And Chichigalpa is where one of the sugar mills is. It's called the San Antonio Sugar Mill. And this is where a lot of the sugar cane is taken to be processed. And when it is processed into granulated sugar, what is left over is a thick, dark liquid that is called molasses. Of course, you've heard of molasses before. But unlike the molasses that your mom may have kept in the fridge to make cookies, this molasses is here in Nicaragua. It is used to make rum. So in that same town of Chichigalpa, right next door to the San Antonio sugar processing plant, is Florida Caña rum. That is where they make the world famous Flor de Caña rum. So this means that rum is actually a byproduct of sugarcane, which is harvested every year, and still only a small portion of that is used in rum production. Now on to Coca-Cola. Well, not just Coca-Cola, but soda or pop, whatever you might call it. They say that here in Central America, or Nicaragua in particular, that it tastes a little bit different, that it tastes a little lighter. And that is because they actually use sugarcane here to make their Coca-Cola and other carbonated beverages. In other parts of the world, they use high fructose corn syrup, which it is chemically very similar, but people report that the sugarcane makes the carbonated sodas a little bit lighter and a little bit fresher tasting. Because Nicaragua harvests so much sugarcane that it just makes sense to use that as an ingredient in carbonated beverages. But sugarcane in Nicaragua is not just about sugar or rum or carbonated beverages. The leftover plant material, it's called bagasse. You spell it B-A-G-A-S-S-E. It's actually burned to generate electricity. There is a plant like this in San Rafael del Sur. It's a biomass plant, and it contributes to the national grid. There's ash left over after that bagasse is burnt, and that ash is actually used for something else as well. It is used as one of the ingredients in cement. So this one very important harvest in the country, it helps to produce food, fuel, alcohol, cement, and even power. It's one of those industries that's quietly doing a lot more than people realize. So now that the rains are right around the corner, the small plants have been planted in the fields, and they are just waiting for the rain, and the cycle will start all over again. So the next time you see smoke rising from the hills here in Nicaragua, or if you take a sip of Coke, or if you pour yourself a shot of rum, you'll know that you are dealing with one of the most important industries in the country. And like so many other things here, there's a lot going on beneath the surface. So thanks for watching Coast to Coast with Joanne. If you learned anything from this episode, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends, and consider subscribing. I will see you on the next one.